Hi, everyone, and welcome to Book Club with Bay. I am Bay, and this is Bay. Say hi, Bay.
Hi, Bay.
And this is other Bay. Say hi.
Hello.
And today we're talking about A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, Book 2 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Cool. Smooth. Awesome.
Her Jalen really came out in this book.
I will say there were moments.
Before we get into ratings real quick, because I'm waiting for my Ritalin to kick in, so I don't want to forget to say this. I still liked this book.
Yeah.
But I have more problems with this book than I did the first book.
Yes.
Yes. As far as some of the choices that were made. But again, since these books are newer, especially, spoilers ahead. This is Book Club with Bay, not spoiler-free book review with Bay. We're going to just be talking about everything. So anyway, ratings. Real quick, I was overwhelmed in a lot of places and underwhelmed in some.
Yeah, a lot of this book was sitting around and talking, which I liked. Because I like books that sometimes you just sit around and talk. There's a lot of that. And then suddenly it was a lot of action towards the end, which was also exciting. It complemented the first half really well, where it was a lot of sitting around and talking. And then, but the sitting around and talking didn't bother me. So yes, I think I agree. Because the ending was also very overwhelming, because I had to reread the last chapter twice to understand what was happening. And I still really want to start the next book. I did it this time.
I mean, that's the thing is, sorry, Bay, go ahead.
No, I mostly concur as well. I don't necessarily feel if I was underwhelmed per se, more just whelmed.
Yeah,
but I was overwhelmed in good and bad ways throughout the book.
Yeah,
there were times where I was like, no.
There are a couple of just general. I think because the thing is easier sometimes to just go over general criticisms first. General writing issues I had with this. First of all, I think this book was too long.
I think it was 25 hours. Oh, yeah. Why did I zoom in? There we go.
I think it was the tiniest. I think it was a bit too long. And one of my reasons for that is because I think the sitting around and talking took up too much time. And not because sitting around and talking is bad, but because a lot of the sitting around and talking was repeating the same cycle, right?
Yeah.
So you have this one character says something to Poppy. We'll get into characters in a second. We have this one character says something to Poppy, then Poppy goes, "Oh, my heavens!" And then
it's literally always Alistair too, which is
right,
buddy, will you stop saying shit? And shut your mouth.
Right. So it's always this one character says something to Poppy. Poppy goes, "Oh, my heavens!" And then, "Oh, do I really trust Hostile?" I'm going to call him Hostile because Hostile, whatever. He's Hostile. Anyway, moving on. She goes, "Do I really trust him? I don't know." Then she goes, "Oh, I think I trust him." And then he says something else, and she goes, "Oh, my heavens, do I really trust him?" Oh.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
not going to lie, that
repeat. And it was can we do something else?
Her confusion about where their relationship's at, it was probably there was at least two. I think there was a third that I was just thinking about that I currently forget. But at least one of my top two most infuriating things in this book. I'm like, are you freaking stupid?
Yeah.
That's the thing is Poppy.
He's saying, "I dig you." Kieran is saying, "He fucking digs you."
Oh my God.
And she's like, "I don't know if he digs me."
Poppy in some places feels like she's dropped 20 IQ points, and then in others she feels like the same character.
Yeah, she's still overall very smart.
And one of the things that could have been done much better, and this is something that, sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts straight again. Just woke up. So this is something that any world that's an alternate universe has to deal with. So whether it's high fantasy, epic fantasy, hidden world fantasy, sci-fi, whatever, no matter what, if it's not Earth, you have to deal with the of information, right? But the thing is that you need to kind of balance intrigue and like, ooh, what's that, with just concisely and clearly presenting information to the reader in a nice little pamphlet. And a lot of these circular situations were meant to nicely pamphlet us information, which was nice. But at the same time,
it was
if we had just
infuriating.
cut down the number, if we had maybe cut it down to like one instance of that, and
then Hawk
maybe,
going, well, here's everything you need to know.
Maybe condensing the flow of information, I think it would have enhanced the experience. Not that it wasn't enjoyable, it was.
Yeah, I still really liked this book. But overall,
it's one of those.
It just got annoying.
It's one of those structure problems I think that book twos typically have, where we kind of need to sit around and talk about book one, but then also need to set stuff up for the next book. So they sort of sit in this. They're sort of like they act like glue rather than an enclosed story, and this felt more like glue with sexy time than an enclosed story at parts. And I think that a lot of this stuff in the first part could have been so much streamlined. I think it could have made Hawk and Poppy's relationship more endearing, and a little bit more believable if the thing didn't last as long, if like the buildup was maybe shifted a bit.
Well, I think also as well, just on this note of like having to give the reader information about the world and whatnot. Now, I will preface this with saying I don't know if this was Jenny's doing, or if, you know how sometimes, especially I think you're more prone to this with an audiobook because she can get a lot more distracted or zone out for a minute or something. Or just sometimes it takes a second read to pick up on what you missed the first time you listened or read it. So I don't know if this is a Jenny thing or if it was a me thing, but like an example is it took longer than I care to admit to realize, like to click on that Hawk, Castile, whatever, he was the original thing doing the Ascensions. And then his brother took his place. Like it took longer, like than I cared to realize that happened.
Yeah, it took longer. Me too. Like it took me a minute, then I kind of went, oh. And I feel like I said, a lot of this could have been presented in a more straightforward way. And I mean, a compliment I can give to the book is that, you know, we introduced a lot of side characters that we've never seen before, but they all feel important. And even the ones that haven't really done anything yet, you do get the impression that they're still important and something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So getting to know these people doesn't feel useless, but it feels like, you know, with Alistair,
I'm waiting for next book. What the fuck is his deal?
We're going to start with, we'll go ahead and do characters real quick because I want to talk about Alistair. So Alistair is, like we said last time, the Wolvener thing.
He's the Wolven advisor to the King and Queen of Atlantia.
Yeah, this is not the best place to start with characters, but I don't care because I have things to say about him. So he immediately reminds Poppy of Victor, who is now dead. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't go anywhere this book, which is fine. I'm fine with that. But I also feel like, you know, it's what I think Jenny is doing is setting it up so that Alistair has is like this
ulterior motives.
Yeah, he's like the Victor replacement with ulterior motives, which is a very interesting concept, and I dig it. But again, you could have still condensed it and gotten the exact same effect, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because some of Poppy's emotions about him are very much redundant.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I think he has ulterior motives is because either he's just a red herring ulterior motives and he's just a bumbling fool, or he was very clumsily used to introduce backstory.
See,
Or
I think
he has ulterior motives, because every time he spoke to her, I'm like,
he has ulterior
what's he
motives.
going to say to her now? And then he's like, oh, you didn't know? Oh, I really need to stop talking. But next time we talk, I'm going to drop another bomb on you.
Yeah, I think it's because of ulterior motives. I hope it's because of ulterior motives that he's trying to like. Well, I think also because he wanted Cass to marry that Wolven chick.
Yeah.
He wanted Cass to marry. So I think he was just trying to seed doubt because he also just didn't believe their relationship in general.
I hope that's all it is.
Yeah,
like for the sake of the characters. Yeah. It'd be more interesting, I think, if there's more to it. Like if he's some sort of like ends up being an antagonist, that could.
But I kind of like him at times. I kind of enjoy him.
Yeah,
so
I think it would be a little bit more interesting and more complex if he was just like had a different view of how the kingdom should be saved. I think that would be very interesting.
It seems I think
that would work really well. And the other issue, I think, writing wise, because like I said, we don't know, we haven't read the third book yet, that would arise with making him giving him some other kind of something other than that, is that what's going on is already very convoluted right now and hard to suss out. And that can be fine as long as you can make it crystal clear for us. But a lot of times stories work better when we have a thing to focus on and like a goal. And right now goal is save the bros, literally save the brothers. And it's like, okay, cool. Save brothers, don't war. Like, all right, neato. And I think stories work really well when you have a situation where you have a clear thing, and you're like, okay, and then things can get messy under the thing. But like, we still need to have some kind of something anchoring the conflict.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
So the other character, another important character that we get introduced to is Kieran, who is
we get Kieran more in this.
Who is Cass's
Kieran's
best friend and his bonded Wolven, which we still kind of don't know what that means, other than they're
bonded at birth.
Other than they're bonded at birth. Kieran, we don't know. We know that Kieran can sense stuff from Castile, but we don't know how much or exactly what that is.
Yeah.
And
but so the general concept of that is back when the gods were doing a thing, they would bond. Oh no, sorry. When the deities, which are the offspring of a god and a mortal.
Yeah.
They would bond with the Wolven to and the Wolven would be their protectors, and then because we also get a lot more info about Atlanteans in this and the different bloodlines and all that stuff, but the ruling bloodline now are elementals, which is what
Cass
I freaking hate the two names.
Because of her,
that's what he is.
I'm okay. Like, it's easy for me to call him Cass because her name's Cassie, and I call her Cass all the time, so I'm used to saying it.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for me to just call him Cass.
Yeah, like, can we just like it's one thing to have a nickname, but when the nickname is something completely different to your actual name, because he's still referred to as Hawk during this as well, and I'm just like, what is your damn name?
Well,
but I know what his name is.
It's just what his mom calls him. Like, that's his middle name. It's his middle name, and his mom just calls him by his middle name. It's
No, I know, but like generally people go by their middle names or they go by their first names. And in a book, it's confusing it's not confusing. Like, I know who they're talking about. But I just get I get confused. Okay, it's a book, and if we're talking about the book, I need to know what the frick to call him. But
yeah,
she calls him Cass now. So she calls him Castile now. So.
And Kieran is generally a good character.
Yeah.
I generally like him. We're just gonna go ahead and talk about this now. One issue that pops up. So we know that Hawk and Poppy are getting married, right? And
Are you talking?
And then this, yeah, you know, we're talking about it right now. And then
she and I had a whole conversation about
but
this last night.
Alistair brings up the concept of the joining, which can sometimes be sexual or not, according to Castile. So,
but then also,
but it's also not done anymore.
But like, well, Kieran's sister as well is just like, I don't know where you're getting your information from because like it is like 80% wrong.
Yeah, she's like, that doesn't happen. Like, people don't need to do that anymore.
So that's why I'm also really confused and sus on it, and it's never been done with a half mortal.
But the weird, but the most ridiculous part of it is that Jenny is half-assedly in this book, and it doesn't. And because we skimmed through the next book, because I needed to know.
I didn't skim. I Command F'd, and so I didn't get any spoilers. But I got one spoiler, but it was a good one.
But we tried to, because we were just trying to figure out, like, do they do this? Because
do they join?
No, it doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like it.
It doesn't seem like it. So what?
Because
Jenny,
of the thing that happens at the end.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah.
They don't have to. Yeah.
So what Jenny kind of does, though, is weirdly sets up this three-way.
Yeah.
And she doesn't just do it by presenting.
And then when they're sleeping in the mountain.
Yeah. So there's that, and then there's
also when she
real quick. Hold on.
It's very set up.
I have a structure to. I have a structure to how I want to talk about this because it's important to get the pieces right. First of all, she introduces the concept that they might have a three-way. Then she has Poppy go, like that meme.
Yeah,
like, and Poppy's like, I would never, maybe, I would never, maybe, and it's like Poppy.
She settles on I would never.
Yeah, she does settle on I would never, but still, you left it open-ended.
But she's still intrigued.
And then, but also. Hostile would murder somebody, so whatever. And then
he would not let it happen.
And then Hostile has to feed from her, and feeding is an aphrodisiac, and so then Kieran is holding her down, and they're like dry humping on top of Kieran.
She's mounted him. So
he's
behind.
Yeah, it's bad.
Cass needs to eat because he hasn't eaten, but he can't eat from anyone else because, like, generally, once it's like an Millennium Force in love, they only eat from the person that they love. Okay, It's a thing. So if he was to eat from someone else, it would be a bad look. It would not be a good look for their relationship. But he's also concerned about doing an 88 on her in case he loses control and doesn't stop. So he's like, I need my bro here to make sure I don't go too far. And he's like, this is going to be hella awkward because last time you ate from me, I had an orgasm just from you doing an 88. So they bring Kieran in. And so Kieran is like, this is his front. Puppy. Oh, wait, my hands are there. So
the Poppy
Kieran,
sandwich.
Puppy, Kaz. So, yeah, like, and
so she is literally in a meat sandwich.
Yeah, and the fact that Kieran points out later as well is like a less sexy way to do an 88 is for him to eat your wrist. And it's like, well, why didn't Kaz do that in the first place? Because he would have known that.
Right.
And his bro's right there.
And then later, but then they do it and they have this whole like thing. And then later in the mountain, they're like, oh, you're going to need
they're like grinding.
Yeah, and then later, like, they're in a mountain, and they're like, you're going to need our body heat. So she sleeps between them, and they wind up, like, and not...
And then when she wakes up, it's not weird, right? Because she's, like, cuddling
Kaz,
and Kieran's behind, spooning her.
Yeah.
It's not too weird, like, but then...
Things happen when you're asleep.
And she's like, and then she's thinking, but then she's also thinking about the joining. And then she's like, my hands are right on Cass's dick. And then just the thought of that is making her antsy. And then like, I don't know. I don't quite know exactly what happened, but then there's a point where one of the boys' legs ends up ramming up in between her legs,
and she doesn't know.
And she's like, I don't know whose it is, but damn, I'm about to have a happy.
And
I'm just like, I'm not okay with the scene.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Here's my issue with this. Okay, if you want to go down this road, Jenny, and I also do it. Because I looked it up because I was like, does this shit happen? And people were saying like, oh, she's posting on her Facebook, like she's trying to decide whether or not she wants to do it. And I was like, okay, very Jenny of her to be like, here's a poll. Who should the person end up with in the third book? Whatever. Very
she's done that.
Fucking married. It's a little too late for this.
Very Jenny.
No,
but like
in a previous series, she let the readers decide who the character ends up with from the love triangle, and the readers chose wrong.
So
I think they chose wrong.
But the issue with this is that it makes every single scene of her like
the two of them awkward now.
It makes it awkward, but it also makes it like really pointless setup because you're setting it up.
There's still a book 4.
And
And
like we'll see what happens, but I'm sorry if you're just setting this up to create dumbass tension, then I'm gonna have to horny bap you because this is ridiculous. Like, if you're gonna go this route, freaking like honestly, commit. Like seriously, fucking commit.
One of the things that I didn't like about this book was so like her Poppy and Cass's banter is like pretty much gone. Their banter consists of, oh, you're gonna stab me again, and she's like, I might stab you again. He's like, okay, I'm gonna stab you again. You know, that's their banter this book. Whereas she now has the banter with Kieran. And I'm not okay with it. Like, I don't mind their relationship, but they're
I like the friendship. Like, that way.
Like, that's fine, but she doesn't have the banter. Like last book, we were raving about the banter between the two of them. It's pretty much fun. Like, their banter this book is now, again, I'm going to do a stabby stab. Okay, do a stabby stab. Or I want to be inside you. And she's like, I want you inside me. That's their relationship this book.
It's one of those classic issues of two characters are together now, and writing them in a relationship is sometimes, I think, for authors more difficult than writing them about to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something that
Jade Lynn came out a lot in this as well, because the Hawk last book did not talk about sexy stuff the way he talks about sexy stuff like a romance novel.
Well, that was coming out at the end of last book when they had sex. That was coming out. Like, that part of him was coming out.
At least it was like,
it was foreshadowed.
It was tame. It was fine. I could have dealt with it, and maybe it was only because it was like towards the end of last book. Whereas it was this whole book.
That was quite.
And I'm so sick of him talking about his cock. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. And and then one thing that made me was when he was like, I want to be inside you while I drink you inside of me or something. And I was like, no man says that.
That was another thing Addie and I texted about. I also spoke to my boyfriend about this. I was like, I don't understand middle-aged women and their obsession with blood drinking. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. If a character's a vampire, okay, I understand why they might want the blood, okay? I understand that it tastes like chocolate syrup and freaking milkshakes, okay? I get it. But why does everybody need to be drinking the blood? Like, in every single, like, werewolf book, like, romance novel, I mean, it's always like, I'm going to drink your blood, you're going to drink my blood during sex, and it's going to be a very hot, sexy time. And it's like, why the blood, though? What the fuck? I mean, and I mean, I were joking about it. Like, you know, in Blackwoods.
I blame Twilight.
Yeah, like in Blackwoods.
I know, like, blood drinking wasn't sexy in that, but it romanticized vampires.
Yeah, like in Blackwoods, when because like 4 books are out now. It's not like it's fine. I'll spoil this part. When characters mate,
which is essentially getting married, yeah.
Which is like how they magically get married. Is they have to kiss and touch hands, basically. And then it's just that's all you have to do.
I like the wedding thing in this.
Yeah, the wedding thing was cute. Yeah, I was fine with that. Because, and I don't think it occurred to us to have anybody do like grow fangs and do weird blood drinking shit, but like it was just,
or do a blood exchange.
It was strange. And it's always strange when it's like characters that are not vampires, because that's usually what it is. It's usually like, you're not going to be a vampire, but we're also going to exchange blood during sex and make it super hot. And it's like, why? It's like, have you ever accidentally tasted your own blood? Like, it doesn't taste good. And,
so like what Hulk is, he's like a vampire light?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like, he's vampire light. He can make a vampire, but he's not actually a vampire, but he needs blood, but he also
he can go out in the sun. He has a daylight ring.
It's kind of like in Vampire Academy. You have like
the Moroi and the Strigoi. He's a Moroi.
Yeah, he's a Moroi. Like where he's born, he needs blood. But he's not a bad guy, and then like the Strigoi are like, you know, your traditional kind of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And anyway, okay.
Yeah, so, one's a living vampire, one's a dead vampire, and I guess that's
any
kind
other
of
characters we need to go over before we get into plot, because we do need to get into plot.
There's a lot of characters. All right, I vote we just.
We'll bring them up when they come up. Honestly,
that's cool. It's cool with me.
Because also, Alistair and Kieran are probably the most important.
Yeah, one thing I do want to say before I forget, because I very well could forget. So there is a trope, like where like the MC just happens to be the chosen one, and I'll tell you when it works, because it works. Like her being the special chosen one isn't an eye-rolly thing in this series, and do you want to know why? Because from day dot, she was the maiden. She was, and we knew as soon as we found out they had ulterior motives. It's like, why did they choose her? And they chose her because she's the chosen one. Okay, if you go like, for example, in Covenant, you know, Alex turns out she was the chosen one, and it's like, of course, the little rebel without a cause happens to end up being the one with the biggest cause. She's the chosen one. She's this, she's that, and it's just like, of course she is. Like, and it makes you roll your eyes, because she's the one that shouldn't have been chosen, but then she was chosen to join the Covenant. But then she breaks every rule. She does this, she does that, and she's just insufferable. And then she just happens to be the chosen one also. And it's like, why? But in this one,
it works in this series.
Well, the other benefit in this is that given that Cass is also like the Dark One and all of that,
and everything.
It keeps them on the same power level, to use a Dragon Ball term, which helps because when you have a romance between characters of unequal power levels, and I'm not talking about power dynamic here, I'm just talking about like whether or not this character would even be interested in the other person and if the relationship makes sense or whatever, like it makes that work much better.
Like Bella and Edward makes no sense, for example.
Yeah. Whereas if you have two characters of similar power levels, you're like, all right, cool, I buy it. You know, she was just like, oh, I was just a girl, like washing my clothes, and I didn't know that I
was just plain Jane doing a nothing, and I have no personality. I will say as well, this book, like first book, Poppy's personality, it was very layered. In this one, her personality seemed to be horny or stabby.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does get a personality reduction here, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And
being in her head
first book was definitely better.
Yeah, I agree. The
first book was definitely better.
I like this.
But, like, we'll see how the third book goes. But, like, if the third book is, as long as the third book is better than this one, then I won't mind having, like, if I ever want to reread the series, I won't mind it.
It's normal that series have a lull book, too. Like, like New Moon, for example.
Book 2 bullshit.
Yeah,
the other thing. So much book 2 bullshit. And for those of you who don't know, book 2 bullshit is what I have dubbed the thing which happens when a character gets to boink them or kiss the love interest in book 1, but then we get to book 2, and what does happen? But we must fight and break up, and then we must spend half the book getting back together because won't they? Of course they will. But we have to sit here.
Also, like, at least that book 2 bullshit was set up last book. At least there's a reason, and like a good reason.
I know, but then also it's just still so annoying because like I don't know how he doesn't feel, and him and Kieran are like, I dig you, feel my emotions, you will feel that I dig you, and she's like, I can't do that, that's a breach of privacy. He's like, no, it's not, do it, and she's like, I consent, but I don't know if you dig me.
That was the biggest book 2 bullshit. Yeah.
The other thing is that it takes them way too long to have a heart-to-heart conversation. It should have happened so much earlier, and it makes their relationship just like really frustrating.
It should have happened after they made out in that closet.
Another thing, because I know I texted this to you guys or to some. I think I forget where I texted it, but is that Hawk's personality feels very different in this book.
Yeah.
To me, it feels different.
Well,
He feels more like rah-rah, I'm an alpha male romance love interest rather than like the layered Hawk thing we saw last time, which was a bit disappointing. I was a little sad about that.
There was, can I remember what it is? No, I lost it. If it pops back in, there was something that amused me or angered me, and I can't remember which one he when it comes back, I'll say it.
So anyway,
sorry.
Plot.
Well,
they go for a walk.
When's last we left, he was like, we're gonna get married, and I will say it takes way too long for him to like finally explain why he wants to marry her. Took way too long. But there is actual good reason for it, at least. Like, he has a full plan. But basically she's just like, fucking no, we're not getting married. And his people are like, what the fuck are you doing, Cass? Or they're like, yeah, fuck it, why not? Like, let's see what happens here. And then Alistair shows up. And then, there's some Kieran bonding about Castile. She's thinking about escaping, and I wrote down, let the Stockholm Syndrome set in. Like, just let it.
Chill.
It's fine. She's like, okay, but if I escape, I have nowhere to go. So she at least, like, logically thinks it through. She's like, okay, well, like, there's no, like, am I safe? I'm not safe here. I'm not safe with the Ascendants. I don't know where the fuck I'm safe. My brother. And I was like, that's stupid, but I'll go with it. And she just wants to know what happened. So in her freaked out state, she does leave. And Cash scratches at her and is like, you're fucking numpty. Like, why are you leaving? Oh god, it's so funny. And he's like, all right, well,
I appreciate the numpty usage, by the way.
I love that word so much. He's like, all right, 1v1. You win, you can do whatever the fuck you want, girl. And so obviously
and she's just like, you and I both know I can't beat you.
Yeah, and he's like, I know.
Ridiculous.
That's the fucking point.
That's why I suggested it, obviously.
Yeah.
One thing that, like, real quick that I just want to say before I forget is that, like, the marriage thing kind of weirdly undermined a lot of their chemistry, and I feel like a lot of the natural moments that they could have had, because they just have like all this tension about whether or not they're going to get married, rather than like just talking to each other. And so half the book feels like we're weirdly stuck in like limbo. I don't know. I think it's supposed to feel like that, but I don't know.
See, I said this to you, but I'll say it here. they have major Jamie and Claire energy. Like season 1, book 1, they have straight up. Like also because in that book there's the will they won't they. Like in the show it doesn't do that, but in the book there's actually a like will they actually get married? Oh my gosh! But Claire's married to Frank. Blah blah blah. So I enjoy this a lot more because they have that dynamic. Very much so. So yeah.
Oh, also, just that reminded me of something I said, mentioned in the last one, and like when they're riding double and she's in front, I'll tell you why that's normally not the way it goes. I'll tell you why, because I actually double checked as to like why. Generally, also like okay, so generally when people ride double, the more experienced rider will often sit in front, and the reason why the more experienced rider often sits in front is not to control the horse, which I will actually possibly because it would be easier, but it's usually because the more experienced rider is more prone to being the more experienced rider, and the heavier rider, either because it's a man doubling with an inexperienced woman or an older person doubling with a child. And the more heavy person should always be on the is sitting at the front for the horse's weight. Otherwise, you can really damage the horse's back. So they're actually committing severe animal abuse just so he can diddle her on a horse.
Well,
or the implication here is that Poppy is heavier.
I can't be mad.
We actually don't really get much about his
Kieran
side.
does it.
Atlanteans are less dense. Anyway.
Then there's a Craven attack. And after the Craven attack, she's like, fine, I'll come back right now, but I will leave again. And he's like, fine, whatever. Try me, bitch. And then they go. And they go back.
In fairness to Poppy, she does admit that. In fairness to Poppy, she does admit that all of this was fucking dumb.
Yeah. He's like, you're stupid, and she was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. That was really stupid of me. Shouldn't have done that. But next time, I'll have a plan. There is no next time, by the way. It doesn't happen again because she starts to realize.
I was wondering if she was actually going to split them up, and she doesn't, which I was. Cool.
That makes me very happy.
I thought there was a moment there where I actually thought that she might have, and I will say one thing I do like about their relationship,
because I thought that was.
And I will say, and one thing that actually made me consciously think this thought. I think I had it subconsciously throughout the book, but this, and we might have even talked about it last book. I can't remember. One thing that I like about their relationship is, and this is very Adam and Mercy-esque, is like, look, I kind of don't like you putting yourself in danger, but I fucking trust you to look after yourself.
Yeah.
Which again,
I like that.
Is kind of a big deal when it comes to the power balancing of a relationship and making it work. Because, like it is very much Adam and Mercy energy, which is why I liked it. Because, first of all, he's not wrong. So there's that, because if he was wrong, then it would be really annoying. But he's not wrong. Poppy can take care of herself. She's usually not an idiot. She does have lapses in judgment, but don't we all?
She's also 18.
Yeah.
Like
she doesn't have enough lapses in judgment to make me go, she's a fucking dumbass. So it's fine. And again, when she does, she's like, yep, that was dumb. So cool, I'm here for it. But then also, when she's like, I can fight, I can heal people. By the way, she winds up being able to heal people. She's like, I can do this. And
I'm useful.
And like, I'm not going to just sit here and let you get killed. So I'm staying. And he's like, okay.
And like, and plus also, like, I don't know if they ever actually said it, but a very, like, one of the things that was most helpful in her not getting deaded in that fight was none of them wanted to kill her. No sides wanted her dead. Neither side.
Yeah, so, no, she does actually mention that.
When the attackers don't want to kill you, they need you alive, and you're physically capable of offing some of them. Why wouldn't you be there?
Yeah. Typically in fights, no matter how unevenly matched they are, well, it depends. But usually, if they are unevenly matched, but kind of close or whatever, if somebody is fighting for their life and somebody is fighting to capture or detain or whatever or subdue, person fighting for their life is going to win.
Yeah.
So that's the thing too, is that not all of the glory goes, like, not that Poppy doesn't do a good job, but not all of it goes to her. And she is like, oh, they're not trying to kill me. All right, cool. Fucking lawnmower the shit.
Yeah, she did all but start shouting at everyone she was fighting. I'm the maiden, you can't hurt me, stab.
Right.
I would have been doing that.
Yeah.
I would have been doing that. I'm just like, I'm the fucking maiden. Stab, stab, stab.
You
can't. Just so then, like, just make it clean.
Bitch. You can't kill me. Like that was her energy during that fight. I loved it. That was so. She was just like, nope, I'm going down there. They can't murder me. They need me. So.
And I enjoyed that she actually used that to her advantage rather than being like, wow, they don't even want to kill me. This isn't even a fair fight. She was like, all right, cool.
She literally said, she's like, I no longer care about dignity and death. And then just goes and murders a bunch of people.
I knew as soon as the gifts arrived, they did done fucked up.
Yeah.
Because her and Cass were both like, kill them all. Fucking kill them.
Kill every last
one. And they
one.
did.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. But back to plot order.
So they talk and he tells her, she's like, is Hawk even a real fucking person? Did you kill him? And he's like, no, it's my middle name, you dumbass. And he's like, the only person that's ever called me that is my mom and you. So
and brother.
And okay. TJ, there's a Lord Everton. His brother is named Malik. She was an empath. They're coming. Jenny's coming for our brand.
Yeah, she is. She's coming for our fucking brand.
Jenny was coming for our brand.
Wait a second, because I do believe you're coming for Jenny's brand.
No, we came up with this.
When we were 14. When was this book published?
Yes,
2020.
Public information at that point.
But ours came out 18 or 19?
Yeah, I'm double checking ours. Kingdom of Flesh and Fire was published in September of 2020.
Oh yeah. We
okay.
definitely predate that.
What was the first book? What was the first book though? When was the
Black
first book published?
Black Woods of Blades of Redwater came out on October 26, 2019.
When did the first thingy?
2020.
Okay,
she's coming for our brand. She's coming for our brand.
You're gonna have maybe you have a lawsuit on your hands.
Wouldn't that be so fucking funny? We sued Jennifer L. Armentrout. No, we're not.
And all of this gets like brought up in Discovery. All of these streams.
It would. The screen would be shown in court. We love it. Anyways.
All the trash talking we've done would probably throw out any lawsuit, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
Unless it was particularly egregious.
Now,
if an invisible Delia shows up, I'm gonna start having some questions.
Right? I'm gonna be like, all right, Jenny, did you read our books? But
could you imagine if she has? Can you imagine if Jenny's a fan of yours? With all this shit we've said about her.
Promoted us yet? She should promo us if she's let's see. We get some exposition about how Ascension actually works, and he's like, I didn't know you were half Atlantean. If that makes you feel any better, I genuinely had no fucking idea. And as soon as I found out, all my plans went out the window. And she actually believes that. She's like, okay, yeah, that's fair. And so then is this when they explain the marriage thing? No. Oh, God damn it. He's like, I'll tell you why I'm going to marry you, but in chapter 10. And we're in chapter 6. And he straight up tells her in this scene. He's like, this was real. Not everything was a lie. And she's just like, huh? And I'm like, and I really wrote down, get it through your dumb female head.
She doesn't for a while.
So that was another thing that annoyed me throughout this book. He keeps saying, not everything since, like, she's like, you're still lying to me. Like every time she finds out something new that he hasn't told her.
Which, and he's like, here's why I haven't told you. And she's like, oh, that's fair.
But then, but some of it though, it's like, some of it I feel like not only did he have opportunity, he did have some sort of obligation to tell her
something.
Or so like some of it, and every time she's like, why haven't, like, you're still lying to me? It's like, I haven't lied to you since I stopped lying to you.
Yeah.
But he's missing the point of like failing to tell someone information that is relevant and important is lying by omission. Like a lie by omission is still a lie.
The being in line for the throne thing, where like there's a good chance that she actually would become queen. He should have told her that. He's like, it's not going to happen. It's fine. We're going to get divorced. It doesn't matter. And she's like, it does matter because that's what people expect of me, and therefore I need to know that.
Yeah, but also, like, I know that he didn't promise to do anything, but the common assumption amongst the people, I know it didn't end up being a big deal.
Yeah, thankfully it was like nipped in the bud.
Yeah, but just hey, heads up, I never promised anything. I had zero interest in doing it. However, everyone here expects me to marry someone else, a very like a pre-chosen someone else, not just some vague person. Like my daddy's been planning my wedding for the last 50 years.
Yeah, he should have told her that. But like the joining, I'm not mad at him for not telling her that because they don't do that really anymore. Like,
and also that's a decision that they can make, because like from his perspective as well, she doesn't want to stay married to him.
Yeah,
he doesn't
so
think
he's like, why would we do that?
Yeah, but then, and I think they already had that conversation before they're like, no, I dig you, I dig you too, I believe you dig me. It's before that conversation, so it's fine. And that's a conversation for when shit's like a bit more chill.
Yeah,
it's not important right now.
Yeah, now's not the fucking time.
But if he wants her to trust him, tell them that everybody thinks you're engaged.
Yeah.
That's an important thing to tell her.
One thing I just thought of, actually, is if she doesn't use the joining at all, which we don't know if she does, but if she doesn't, then bringing it up at all or even having it exist is kind of freaking pointless.
Yeah, it is.
Because it doesn't affect anything or anybody we know. And it's like...
But I will say the trend with this series so far is that she doesn't bring up stuff that doesn't matter eventually.
But it is also relationship drama stuff, which has had a bit of a different trend than just pure plot stuff. So I'm interested to see where that actually falls in that category.
Well, I suspect, because like what have been the main causes of relationship drama? It's mainly been the joining and not Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like this. What's the dead ex name?
Shay.
Yeah. Shay. Like that's fine. Like, because also she hasn't been really like, that wasn't a cause of upset for her. She knew he'd been in love with someone before.
Yeah. I told her.
And we were just finding out the story. Like, that's
also
that's
he's
fine.
200 years old. The idea that he hasn't been in love before would be freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at least she's not she's not insecure about it. And like, she was actually just genuinely curious. And like, until she found out the truth, she was actually like,
you.
Yeah. And before she found out the truth of the events that led to Shay dying, she was like, But she was sad for his, like, she was sad on his behalf that he'd lost the person he had loved and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, she's healthy. She's healthy, which is nice.
Yeah.
She's not jealous of someone who's long dead.
Yeah.
But I feel like not fiance is gonna pop up next book.
Yeah, I didn't search her name.
I hope she does. Oh, what is her name?
Probably Gianna, I think.
What is it? Let's have a look. Not Gianna. Oh, also, we were wrong about Poppy's actual name. I picked it up this book. I don't know if you did.
Penelope.
It's not Penelope. Yeah, it's Penelope.
Her name's fucking Poppy. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't. It's spelled like that. It's spelled like that, though. So that makes me less mad that it's spelled like that, and that's actually how you say it.
We probably would have picked on that sooner if we weren't listening to this on like 2.5 speed.
Yes.
Yeah,
no, I think we would have. I'm looking to see if Gianna's in the next book because I'm curious. But yeah. So where are we with the actual plot?
So she has a nightmare, and when she wakes up, he tells her about the fact that he also gets nightmares and sort of what happened to him when he was captured by the Ascended for 50 years.
Also, what the Queen did.
Yeah, like.
And the Queen is like the person who took care of her after her parents died.
Yeah.
So she like
has a very
remembers
good view of the Queen.
Yeah, so she remembers the Queen very fondly as like this motherly figure. Basically as like it would be like the fairy godmother from Cinderella capturing, torturing, and raping someone.
Yeah.
Is to her is what just happened. And she does believe him, but she does. But she's like, but she's also like, I have a really hard time reconciling what I know now versus like the woman who took care of me, bathed me, fed me, read to me, held me when I was grieving for my dead parents as a child.
Yeah, she straight up says that. She's like, I believe you. I believe that she did these things, but like, that's not the woman I knew. That's fine. Like, we can just, this is just the truth. And then she finally admits to him that she doesn't think.
I'm also just going to call it, I don't, everything that the Ascended has said to her in this book, I believe.
I believe too.
Putting it out.
Yeah.
I believe it as well.
Yeah.
I believe.
Then she finally admits that
Gianna is in the next book.
Cool.
They have a quick chitty chat, and it's just Gianna's like, "Hi, you're Castile's wife," and she's like, "I am Castile's wife. Do you want to bang my husband?" No, I can assure you, not. I have not now, nor have I ever wanted to bang your husband. We are friends, although even that I couldn't say anymore because I haven't seen him in so long. And then Poppy's like, excellent, because if you wanted to fuck my husband, I will literally tear you apart limb from limb. Have a good day. And then and then she's like, and then she tells Castile, I met Gianna, she's quite pretty. So nothing comes from the Gianna bullshit. So yeah, you're right. It's literally just book 2 bullshit.
Then,
which is also dumb that we spent time on it then, unless it also has some sort of plot relevance with regard to Alistair, which I can accept.
Yeah.
So we get some lore about the bloodlines, and also another way that Jenny's coming for our brand is she has Poppy start shoveling potatoes into her mouth. There's a line. It's in BTOA, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it straight up says Claire was it shoved or stuck?
Claire stuck a piece of potato in her mouth.
And that's one of the funniest things. Like, I think I wrote that in like draft 1, and you were like, we're
no,
keeping this.
What happened was we were writing all day, and we were kind of like, when you've been writing for a while, you get to like this delirious phase, and that's where we were. And she just went, I don't know how to start this. Claire stuck a piece of potato in her mouth, and I was like, "That's staying," and it did.
That is in the final book. Yep.
It's a good way to start a thing.
She shoved a potato in her mouth, man. Like, come on. So then we get more.
That is good.
Like Atlantean lore, but it's presented pretty naturally because she's like reading a book, and also Cass like tells her some stuff too.
Now, question: do you think the Willa Collins? Well, I couldn't even call her a character, but she kind of is.
The who?
Do you think
the book
Willa Collins, the book? You know the book.
The book.
Oh.
The book is still relevant. Like, book, by the way.
Like,
it
gets brought up so much that I'm wondering: is Willa Collins a relevant party somehow?
Dude, I would love that. I would fucking love that. I would be so lit.
I feel like she gets brought up too. Like, I don't know if it's just meant to be a comparison of like the virginal poppy.
I think it's just meant to be a meme.
I don't know. Like, could you imagine if it turned out like she was like the first maiden or something?
I would love that. If it doesn't end up like that, I'm fine with the book being a meme because every book has a good meme in it.
I know. I just feel like she gets brought up too much. I feel like she has to be relevant in some way.
Then he takes her to an underground memorial for the people that are like missing in action, or killed, or other mistreatments by the Ascendants, and she's like, "Wow, this is overwhelming." So she just more
and
like
and he's like, "This is like a percent of a percent of the
people that and then he finally tells her why. He's like, here's my thought process behind marriage. One, keeps her out of danger, because obviously ordering her to stay out of danger is not enough. Their marriage will open the eyes of the Atlantean people avoiding war, because the war would just ruin both countries, and people would believe that the gods approved of the union between her, a Solician, Atlantean, whatever, she's both, and then the Atlanteans, and then he can negotiate the release of his brother with her as at his side and negotiate for some land, because the problem the Atlanteans have is they don't have the rightful heir to the throne and they don't have enough land. And so he's like, so that's why we should get married, because then you have status, you'll be safe, and also using you uniting, as the maiden, uniting our peoples a little bit.
Because most of the Atlanteans and dissenters that they have been spending time with so far still hate her and want to do it and don't want her around. So it's like, I don't want people to do a killer kill. What happened?
My Xbox just turned on by itself. The ghost is back.
The ghost is back. I will say, as a history major, this plan is very idealistic.
Oh, it is. It is. But
it's a book. Also, I'll let it slide.
Yeah. And he's like, she says, how will I be free? And he's like, well, we'll get divorced. It's fine.
Yep.
And she's like, okay.
And started throughout this book as well as, because it's not really a major plot point that we'll probably bring up as a plot point, but it's just brought up in bits and pieces, and she has thought processes about it throughout the whole book, is about hers and or her brother's true parentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, and then also about the status of her brother. Like, is he actually a bad ascended?
Or is he even alive?
Yeah.
Or did he even ascend truly at all?
Yeah, or just what happened to her brother.
Because if he's ascended, if they know what she is, because because it's pretty clear the Ascended know what she is.
Oh yeah.
And if her and her brother shared the same parents, it doesn't make sense that he would have ascended.
And also, it wouldn't make sense why they need her, though. Like, if they wouldn't need her.
Yeah, we also got more information about the Ascensions as well. It wasn't, and it could have just been I missed it because of listening to it on 2.5 times speed. I didn't pick up last book. There had been, like, her brother has been the only person that's ascended in quite some time.
I think they say it last book.
I think so too.
Yeah, I knew. Like, and so that's why everyone's ascension is tied to her. So I don't know if Malik only had enough juice to ascend one person, and they're not truly siblings, or what. I don't know what the situation is.
I'm sure I'm intrigued to find out the answer myself.
Also, though, why would the vampires want to keep making more of themselves? There's going to be a limited blood supply soon enough. Why would you want more bloodsuckers around? It doesn't make sense. But anyway, we'll get to that.
Unless you're gearing up for war and trying to make a military.
There's that.
They probably know that there's the Atlantean. They know that they're still a thing.
Yeah, so they know they're still kicking.
So they're gearing up to annihilate them and commit genocide, I think. But then I guess they would capture some. They wouldn't actually commit full genocide. They would just capture a few to keep the blood, whatever. So they're gonna get married temporarily, and they're
going to business arrangement marriage.
Yeah, they have a business arrangement marriage, and they have to tell Alistair, and he's like, yeah, Alistair's not going to believe us, but we're going to try our damnedest to make him believe. And Alistair straight up asks Cass, he's like, do you intend to keep her? And she's just like, this is going great, isn't it? And then he's like, are you just doing this to get Malik back? And he's like, whatever, I'm going to talk to Poppy. And this is when he's like, yeah, so he was engaged to my daughter who's dead, by the way. So I know what he looks like when he's in love. And he's also like, if you're being forced into this, say the word, I will get you out and you'll be protected for the rest of your life. And she's like, no, this is consensual. I consent to this marriage.
Yeah, I'm cool, bro. And he's like, if you can get him to talk about my daughter, please, because I don't mind this thing, because apparently, like, he's like, because he won't talk about her. And I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, he does.
Like, I don't know why he won't talk about her.
And we find out why he will not talk about her, and it's a pretty fair reason. Then some of the royal guard show up with an Ascended, and they're like, where's the maiden? And everyone's just like, she's not fucking here. And Cass has her
maiden? What's a maiden?
What's a maiden? Cass has her hidden in the woods, and he's physically distressed by the situation because they start murdering people. It's very sad.
Yeah, they kill that. So yeah, it turns out.
They killed the chick from the last book.
Yep.
Yeah. So looks like she. I don't know if she sought them out. Like we never actually get a clear explanation of the series of events. I imagine she was going for a walk to clear her head after her finding out her husband was killed because he tried to kill Poppy.
Yeah.
And she was just trying to come to terms with it because it's a big thing. She's lost 2 of her kids, now a husband, and the royal guard came upon her with her baby as she was doing a walkie walk, and I imagine they took the baby and she tried to trade the knowledge for her baby's life.
Yeah,
I imagine that's what happened.
Yeah,
they took the baby anyway, and then he kills her. And they probably eaten the baby, which is sad.
Yeah.
There's lots of kids. There's lots of at least it's off page, but there's lots of kid death in this book, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it's all off screen though, which is fine. So then she's like, I can't stand here because like Cass comes out and is like, hi,
hello,
I'm the dark one.
Yeah.
I don't have the maiden. She's not here. Leave us alone. And they're like, and then they just start murdering. So then she comes out because she's like, I can't sit here and watch this. I can fight. I'm gonna fight. And
one of them's holding like a little 11-year-old kid, like with a knife.
But yeah, so she goes after him, and she's like, "Let the kid go. I will come with you willingly if you let the kid go." Spoiler alert: kid still gets murdered. Kid still becomes Brecky.
No, they just snapped his neck. They didn't eat him.
Oh,
yeah, they don't eat him. Yeah, Cass is like, they didn't eat him, but they did kill him.
So she gets kidnap-a-doodled. And
which, by the way, this does actually stop her from doing this again because she's like, okay, so even if I give myself up, they will still, because Cass is like, it doesn't matter, like, you're not the cause of this. It doesn't matter if you're here or not. They're still going to do this. So giving yourself up is stupid and it's not going to fix anything.
Yeah, and she learns her lesson real quick. She still like thinks about it later in the book, but she's like, no, like I learned my lesson. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to fight. So she's trying to escape by being like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you found me. Thank you so much. Because
she knows this guy as well.
Yeah.
And then just before we get to this bit, because I think this thing's already been established as well. I texted you guys about this. Jenny is as good as this series is compared, like the first book. It's not just a good Jenny book. I genuinely think it's a good book. This book I feel is like probably about halfway between a good Jenny book and a good book.
Yeah, like I think it's a good Jenny book, definitely.
It's definitely in her top two.
Yeah, it is in her top two.
As far as the ones we've read.
But this is not this series is not immune from the trope of bad guys must be pervs.
Yeah, so
it's such
we had to establish that the Lord that we found out was killed last book in the town that they're in. Not only did he eat little boys, he liked to do other things with the little boys too. So that's why Cass did a murder. And I'm just like, is it not bad enough that he eats children?
No, it's okay to eat children.
But does he have to kill them too?
Obviously, the message is you're only bad if you're a rapist.
Like it's okay to have a evil male character without him being a perv or creepy or rapey. Okay, guess what? Voldemort is not rapey. I think Voldemort's asexual, and that is fine. I am fine with that, and it works. It is one of the most. I think it's the most successful book series ever, and it works.
Harry Potter.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
The other thing is that it also weirdly undermines whenever because Jenny's not the only person that does this, but whenever an author does this, it also weirdly undermines the badness of the villain, because usually it's like, not only does he dismember people and commit genocide, but also he's rapey. And it's like, genocide's worse than rapey. But no, let's focus on the rapey. That's fine. Okay, cool. All right. No, fine. No, never mind. I stand corrected.
Like, the vampire cannot feed from a person without either killing them or turning them into a craven, which is worse than death.
Yeah.
So, it's like that's all the justification we need.
Yeah, and you undermine the strength of their badness when you're like, and also And it's like,
Yeah,
that's like the bottom tier of on kill. Like, the fuck.
I mean, I think probably the reason we didn't bring it up last book, I don't think we did.
No, we didn't.
I wasn't too mad at the Lord being a creepy pervy perv.
No, I
in the
wasn't.
last book.
I wasn't either.
I wasn't mad at that because that's where her sense of him being bad came from.
Originated, yeah.
Yeah.
He was the bad guy because he kind of got off on her getting caned. And fine. Like, but when we've already established that they eat babies, like, we don't need them to also be rapey.
And so then he bites her, and
they're in the carriage.
She fights.
Yeah, but he says some things to her as well. He says, "You don't know what you are," and she goes, "I think I do know what I am." And he's like, "Whatever you think you know about what you are incorrect," which I'm guessing is tied to the end of this book.
I think they definitely knew.
Yeah.
Something was up.
And and there's only a handful of people that knew what she is, and she and Cass are not two of those people who know what she is, but they think they are.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, "No, I know everything," and he's like, "No, you don't." And it's true, they don't. No.
And he's just like, and he's just like, "I just need a taste of what you are." What? And if what the Duchess tells her later is also true, he's a fucking moron. He's like, the Queen won't have to know,
right?
That I'm gonna have a drinky drink. As if she's not gonna tell the Queen as soon as she sees her. Like, Lord blah 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 just ate me, and I'm not okay. Like, if things had gone according to plan and he wasn't about to kill her and he did a bitey bite and left it at that, and she didn't get rescued, the Queen wouldn't have been happy. But
I probably would have killed him.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so he bites her.
She
then
bites.
The carriage gets rescued.
Yeah.
Yeah, she pulls out a little knife.
She's already killed him, right?
No, she can't kill him. Because she doesn't have
that's
the
right.
right
She doesn't
kind
have
of
the
weapon.
thing to kill him.
Yeah.
But
so she just
Cass
mutilates
finishes
him
off. But yeah, he's like,
No.
Really
She finishes him off, doesn't she?
I thought she killed him.
Later
no, she doesn't. She doesn't finish him off. Yeah, she does finish him off later in the dungeon.
Oh yeah, I know.
But the fight, by the time Cass gets there, the fight is more or less over.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Kieran kill everyone else.
Yeah.
And she blacks out.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up and she's almost all healed. And she's like, "What happened?" He's like, "I fed you my blood." And because he has Healy blood. And she's like, "Oh, well, thank you. But you didn't need to do that." And he's like, "You were in pain. I did it." And then Kieran's like, "Are you sure that was wise, bro?" And he's like, "Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about." And then
I was like, ooh, at that point, I was like, ooh, what's going to happen? Like, that was spicy.
And then when they go outside the next day, there's a blood tree there, which is an omen from the gods.
But I love that they're like, it's an omen. I stand this though, because they're like, it's an omen, but we don't know what kind.
Is it good? Is it bad? We don't fucking know. And then she uses her powers to ease the pain of the wounded.
Did you guys suspect the cause of how it did a thing? I suspect.
Can you give your pronouns some antecedents, please?
I suspect, because I don't know if it's clarified at the end. I don't know, but I feel like that blood tree popped up exactly where she got wackadoodled
where her blood
over the
was.
head.
Yes.
Where her blood was.
I think so. Yeah.
And I was like just whenever it got mentioned, like the more it got mentioned, I was just like,
yeah.
And then the more omeny stuff and like the more gaudy stuff happened, I'm like,
this bitch a child of a god, ain't she?
I don't know if I quite expected that. Although actually, when they started to bring up the specific child of God's, but I don't know. I don't know. I just thought she was very, very special.
I thought she was very. I was like, there's something weird, just because like.
And then the more she was like, she's an empath, but she's doing stuff that empaths don't do, and she fucking glows. I was like, wheels are spinning.
She's a higher like tier than she was. She's not an empath warrior. She's some higher tier, some god tier like fucking bloodline.
Yeah.
But after she
and then the Dappy Zaps.
The whole last chapter was just like,
yep.
I was here for it. I was here for that part though. That was fun. And so after she uses her powers to ease the pain of the wounded, some people are like, "Man, I want you to touch me, maiden." But some people are like, "Thank you. You're so great."
Thank you.
He pulls her to a pantry and is basically like, Can I please just mac on your face? Like, please. Like, I am asking for consent here. Can I make out with you? And she was like, just pretend. And
just pretend thing got on my fucking nerves.
I was okay with it at first. At first it was fine. And then I was like, stop. Just stop saying it. We all know you're not. Like, we all fucking know.
Like everyone except her, and like I'm just like, yeah. I've already explained how I felt about that. It drove me nuts.
So then Cass offers her a gift of killing the guy that bit her, so she does it. And
she's like, "Thank you, best present ever."
Yeah, she's like, "Yay, murder!"
She's starting to get a little bit more vengeful and wrathy in this.
Yeah. Coincidentally, is that the closer they got to the Atlantean border.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Yeah. She has a nightmare. They mess around.
Her nightmares are starting to reveal a bit more information about the night her parents died as well.
Yeah.
Still not too clear what exactly happened though.
But I'm sure
by the end of it, we're still confused.
Yes. So then she comes up, like she's been quiet, and so she's like, okay, well, I'm having a hard time grasping the fact that I'm not the maiden, and like how I subconsciously
and was there even another maiden? And
yeah, she's like, I'm just having trouble grasping my life right now. And then after that little heart to heart, she's like, so what about your dead finance? And he is like,
we don't
want to talk about it. And then he doesn't really talk to her. Like, he'll talk to her a little bit, but he won't actually have a conversation with her until the, what are they called? Dead Bones Clan show up.
It's such an original name.
It's like if Buffalo Bill had babies and raised them.
Well, how I see them is have either of you watched Firefly?
No.
When I was a kid.
So there's Reavers in that, and they if they get you, they will kill you. They will rape you to death, eat you, and then use your clothes, use your skin to make their clothes. And if you're very, very lucky, they'll do it in that order. And that's how I feel about these guys.
Yeah, the raping was not said, but the eating, yes, and then the skin, Hannibal Lecter, yeah.
As soon as I started talking about that, I was just like, oh, they're Reavers.
So they fight. He's not looking so good because he's hungry.
And Kieran's like, you cool, bro? And he's like, I'm fine. And he's like, are you sure? And Poppy's like, what's going on?
Yeah,
nothing.
she hasn't understood it yet that he's just hungry. But then they make
she's
it
refusing to feel his emotions.
Yeah. They make it to the farthest outpost of the Atlanteans in one of the ruined cities from the war. So they go through Pompeii, and then they're in. I didn't write down the name of the city, but they're in a city, and this is where they're at until like the last few chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Yep. So what this city is though is that it was part of Solus. Like it was originally part of. I don't know if all of Solus used to be part of Atlantia.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. That is the case.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The Atlanteans have reclaimed that discreetly because the Solutians. What are they called? The Soluses.
The Solus people.
Solutians.
Solutions. Yeah. I like that.
They have. Yeah, they don't go that far out.
Yeah.
It's like the outskirts of Russia. Like no one goes there.
Yeah.
So they don't know that
it's a shadowy place. You must never go there.
Bae, what vape do you have?
So my previous tank and my previous mod were fucked. So I was like, I need a new one, and I still had a shit ton of coils for my tank. So I was like, well, I'll get the same tank. And I'm like, well, it's cheaper to just buy the starter kit than it is to buy, a tank and a mod separately. So the tank, the kit that I got when you were here?
Yeah.
Got the exact same one again. I had a different mod until I ended up getting a different mod though, because I forgot until I bought it that the bottom of this opens like that, and eventually it's not going to clip in properly. I forgot about that. But
sorry, I saw it from the side and I saw your tank and I was like, conformity?
Yeah, it's
very close. Like
it looks like the Zeus.
It's an Anakin Proton with a Scion 2 tank.
Not the same, but I got excited.
She and I have the same.
But we're all rainbow.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
We're all rainbow.
Well, I'm not over here, but we're gonna ignore that part and just look at the tank.
Oh, you rainbow here.
Yeah.
The profiles of our tanks are very similar, so I was like, Anyway, moving on. Sorry, I'm gonna shut up now.
I was very excited when it came though, because I can have pink again. Because my other one, you couldn't change the screen color, whereas this one I could.
Yeah.
So I can have a pink screen again.
Yeah, mine's this right now.
Mine is also lime green.
Very
anyway,
alien-esque.
Anyways, he starts having a night terror because he's really fucking hungry. And she screams.
He wakes up,
but he his eyes are like black. She screams, but not because of like.
Yeah, because he's eating her right now. She's like, eat me. You need to eat. I feel the hunger. And so he does, but then like he's killing her and she's orgasming. And she knows that he's killing her and that she's orgasming.
No, he's not. He's just giving her oral sex.
He's just Michael Phelpsing that smush cookie.
I thought he was eating her.
No,
he's not eating her out.
Yeah, that's all he did.
I thought he was actually eating. I swore he bit her. Didn't he bite her? Oh,
nope.
Okay.
No, he didn't bite her. She was like, "You're hungry, eat me," and he went, "Okay," and it was like,
he went, "All right."
And so she screams, and so Kieran comes in like,
oh god,
and then
because also he can feel. I imagine he can also feel that Cass is quite hungry.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he heard the scream, so he's like, "This isn't ending well." So he bursts in. He's like. And I love it though. It's like,
oh,
sorry, I heard you scream.
Bad.
Yeah, like I think what he says is like, I heard you scream, but I see I misread the situation, and goes to back away slowly.
Yeah, he's like,
but then Cass is like,
and yeah, because Cass sees him as a threat while he's macking on his girls, vajayjay. He's like, another man, fuck you. So he goes to like attack, but then she uses her power to calm him down.
Well, honestly, I now it all makes so much. Because I'm like, also, why is she not concerned? That makes so much more sense. I thought he was biting her.
That's why Kieran was like, "Did he force himself on you?" And she's like, "No, God, no. I mean, it was a surprise, but it's consensual. Like,
a surprise, but a welcome one to be sure. Sorry. Anyway. So.
Sorry. Because I've got the ebook open, and I was just looking through to find where we are, and it just occurred to me as well. So when she's having these dreams, like these nightmares, the first time she has the nightmare in this one, she hears a voice, and like apparently she says it out loud, and Cass is like, "That's fucking creepy." But it's, "What a pretty little flower, what a pretty poppy. Pick it and watch it bleed. Not so pretty any longer, poppy." And the whole book, they're like, "Why is someone talking about bleeding flowers on the night that you had your face ripped open, Poppy? Why is someone talking about bleeding poppies the night you were bleeding, Poppy?" And they're just like, I'm like, clearly the person was being creepy about her face. Fucking clearly. Right? Like,
yeah.
As soon as you guys heard it, like, that's what you thought, right?
That's what I thought, yeah.
Like, they were talking about her. Like, the pretty little girl isn't pretty anymore because she's fucking scratched up. And they're like, I wonder what people mean. Like, both her and Kaz are like, "Hey, Poppy, what do you think they meant about the bleeding poppy?"
I don't know. Your name's Poppy.
What do you think they
were
meant?
Bleeding. You were all fucked up. I don't know. Just
you weren't so pretty any longer. Like, that was another thing out of here. Like, it's not subtle.
Yeah.
Like, if they didn't say "what a pretty poppy," if it was just like "what a pretty little flower," then I could understand. We'd probably still pick up on it, but I wouldn't be infuriated with the characters.
Yeah.
So Cass makes himself scarce that day because he's all of the shame about what happened. And her and Kieran are talking, and he's like, I mean, he's in love with you, but whatever fucking helps you sleep at night, to like ignore that, I guess. And she admits that she was going to abandon. Yes, this is where the cringe thing happens.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it by its real name. We're not gonna call it that. Executive decision.
Yeah, well, because Kieran goes, "I believe you might be heartmates," and I was like, "They might be
fucking soulmates."
And I was like, "They might be do what now?" Writing advice, real quick. Writing advice from book club with Faye. Just
don't cutesy it up or try to.
Don't say soulmates.
It's cringy if you cutesy it.
Well, it's not even like cutesying it. It's even like, oh, it's gonna be original. It's not original. It's fine. Just fucking roll with it. Own it. They're soulmates. Moving on. Heartmates, really?
Yeah, it's so gross.
Like, I've heard of heartmates. I can't think of what I've heard, like recently heard heartmates in, but I don't enjoy it.
Heartmates read out loud.
I don't enjoy it.
So dumb.
So she admits that she was going to abandon being the maiden anyways because of a lot of things, but also because she wanted to have a life with him. And she's like, but I can't because I'm going to die. And also, like, I still believe that he doesn't actually like me. Whatever. She doesn't really say that a lot in this conversation. She's mostly just like, I can't have a future with him, so I'm not going to care. And he's like, but isn't it worth caring now? Bitch. And that's when he's like, I think y'all are soulmates, but we do get an explanation as to what that means in their universe. It's a very sad story. But
it is.
And she's after that conversation, she's like, nope, we're good. I'm good. You're good. Everything's good. I don't want that information. I'm not gonna think about it. We're just gonna put that way back here and not talk.
One thing though was, I mean, it wasn't overused enough to the point where it was bordering on "you're no killer," but I think you might be heartmates was almost overused to
also
no killer.
What was though was we're just pretending. I can just pretend.
Yeah, that was overused.
I'm not pretending anymore. This is real.
I did like that part where she was like, on one condition, this is real. Like
that's fine. That was cheesy. That was like, but fine. Well, yeah, but it's a romance book, so I think I forgive it. But the internal monologue of like, I'm just gonna pretend to like.
Yeah, that
I was like, kill me. Too much.
Then we've already talked about the joining thing. I don't really want to talk about it anymore. We've already talked about all of this, where they have the poppy sandwich.
Right, because she feeds him.
Yeah, because she feeds him because he's fucking starving. And
she feeds him, it's fine. Moving on. We talked about it.
Then he basically asks her out on a date. And he teaches her how to like ride a horse, and he's like, "This is a bad idea," with like a smile on his face, and she's like, "Yeah, this was a bad idea because we're both getting in our feels now. This isn't good." And then we meet Kieran's sister, who I stan Kieran's sister.
I liked Kieran's sister.
She was fucking hilarious. And so someone gets like a building on their leg. His name is Beckett.
Yeah.
The kid. So she's like going to just like make him feel better, but then she heals his completely messed up broken legs. And she glows. The whole thing.
She glows all silvery. And everyone's like, "Why are you glowing?" And she's like, "I don't know. Why am I glowing?" They're like, "We don't know. Why are you glowing?"
Yeah, Cass was like, "Oh my god."
No one was okay.
No, everyone was very confused. He's like, "Okay, so a lot of people saw you glow, and there's this thing called like, what is it, a soul eater? Something like that. It's essentially a soul eater."
So
type of empath.
So there was a previous bloodline that were empath warriors, and they were the most feared because they could literally defeat an entire army before the battle even started, because they could just make the whole army terrified. But then there was some empath warriors who could feed on the emotions of others and use that power to whatever, and they were soul eaters. So people are scared of them.
So they're like, "Oh god, that's what she is," because they're all but extinct at this point. And so he's like, "A bunch of people saw that, so we really need to get married now." And they have a talk with Alistair about getting married like in this town because they're on Atlantean soil. And
Alistair's like, "I don't think it's wise. You need to tell mommy and daddy first."
And he's like, "No, it's not happening." And she's like, "No, it's not happening." So then he takes her to a field of poppies, and he takes her after that to like this cave where he used to hang out with his brother and Shay when they were kids, and it's hot springs. And this reminded me of a scene that did not get in the Outlander TV show, but it's one of my favorite scenes in the book. Oh yeah, it's a good scene. Where he takes her to hot springs and then fucks her against a rock.
Yep.
And then this is when Alistair's like, "But you're already betrothed." And this is what I texted you guys saying, I already have a rant about this trope that I fucking hate. I hate this trope. I hate this.
I hate it too.
It's so annoying. Thankfully, it does not amount to literally anything, but like, my God, it was still really annoying for the 2 minutes that it was a thing. Because he straight up immediately says, "I never agreed to this. I'm not actually betrothed because I didn't agree to this shit."
And he's like, "But your father has been planning it." And he's like, "I don't care." He's like, "I never saw her that way. She never saw me that way. We're friends."
Yeah.
It's cool.
And they're in front of like everyone. So she finally snaps because people are being mean to her. And she's like, "Listen, fuck all of you. I get I was the maiden, but calm down." And I wrote down, "Go off, sis," because she went off. Great.
Well, like, because they're like, they're all like, "How can we trust her? She's one of them." And she's like, "They beat me. They tortured me. I wasn't allowed to look at anyone. I had to be veiled. This, that, the other. I wasn't allowed to talk unless I was spoken to. And even then, who knows if I would get beaten for responding or not responding at any given point. I was starved. I was this. I was that. I was fuck you all."
And she also is like clearly making the point, like, how was I supposed to know jack shit about anything. Fuck you.
And Cass also
I was allowed to speak to four people.
I love her, you dumbasses. It's great. I just wrote down that was spicy because they both just went off on everyone.
Also, they do like very public love confessions. There was that too, because I don't think they say "I love you" to each other in this book.
No, but they know. But they know that they love each other. You know.
Same.
But yeah, they have very public.
I think
love confessions.
I think she might say it to him, but he doesn't say it to her. But she feels that he does.
No, she doesn't
feels it, but nobody says it.
No one says it.
Oh, okay.
But
they're
they
married,
like
but they
you know.
Cool.
They're like, yeah. I mean, they're like, I want to get married for real, and she's like, fuck yes, let's get married for real right now. So then they like,
yeah.
So I guess that's as close to a love confession as you can get without saying it.
And then after that conversation, she's still heated from that whole thing, and he comes in and
another important note about that real quick is that doesn't actually work. Like, it gets a lot of stuff off her chest, but a lot of people are like, yeah, okay, weirdo.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah. Which I also liked. I liked that the whole bus did not clap.
Yeah. And
I think maybe about 3 people in the bus clapped. Like, I think it's swayed. Like, people that were like,
Jasper.
I'm a bit
Jasper's
sus on her.
Oh yeah, that's right. Jasper's
Kieran's dad.
Kieran's daddy.
I love
that. He
that.
looks like to say. He look like, yeah.
But
I like that. I like Jasper too. He can stay.
Yeah, he's also going to be the officiant in their wedding because he's like the representative for the Wolven.
Yeah, and she also
in
took
their
a conversation. She was like,
everyone who is like friends with Cass seems to enjoy the fact that she stabbed him in the heart, thinking it would kill him.
Because they're like, you dumbass, it wouldn't kill him, you silly girl.
And then they're like, Cass, I see you have the same taste in women as your father does, because apparently his mother stabs his dad all the time. It's like, I was about to say something really inappropriate. I'm not going to. I'm going to type it though.
Yeah, chat.
But she and Jasper do have a good conversation. I forget when this happens at one point where she's like, but you're a woman, don't you expect him to do like the blah, blah, blah and like marry the thing? And he's like, I don't expect shit from him, but okay.
Yeah. He's like, I don't care.
And then she gets like the feeling like, okay, well, if he, the representative of the Wolven, don't expect this, but what's his nuts does, that's kind of sus. Like,
yeah. But they start having a talk about their non-engagement, and she's like, I know nothing about you. Like, tell me personal things tell me about Shay. Tell me about tell me about you. Like, I can't believe that you like me because like you don't tell me things. And he's like, do you want to know why I'm here right now? I wanted to know like if you meant what you said in front of everyone. Spicy.
Know what I'm referring to?
You're not wrong.
Know what I'm referring to? Not yeah. Yeah. That's why I didn't say it.
He's like, I want everything from you. And she's like, I don't know what that means. He's like, I'm confused too. I had plans, bitch. I had this exact plan set out. And then I met you. And it went out the freaking window.
And she's like, when did he go? And he's like, Willow Tree, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's like, the minute that he says like the minute I met you is when those plans started to change, and I didn't even realize it. And when I'm with you, I can forget about Malik. I can forget about the fact that I'm a prince. I can forget about all the shitty things I've done in my life, and that never happened with Shay. And he's about to like say the thing, and then someone knocks on the door. And I was like, God damn it.
And he's like, leave. I like this because he's like, leave. And he's like, it's important. He's like, it's not more important than what I'm currently doing. And they're like, I think it might be. He's like, fucking what? They're like, these ended are coming.
Yeah. He says like,
they're like, hey, that is more important.
He's like, if you value your life, you will turn around and act like you were never here. It's funny. Yeah, the British are coming is essentially what I wrote down is the British are coming. And it's an army coming after her. There's like hundreds of soldiers ascended, all of these like all the shit's happening. Cass sends Alistair and Kieran to go to the capital to get reinforcements. And he wants Kieran to take Poppy, and he let her stay because we talked about this before.
First he sends 2 Wolfies out to do a scout. They're very fast runners.
And one
to go
died.
Have a look, and only one of them comes back.
Yeah, and he's very injured.
Pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
And she heals him.
And then
yeah.
And then but he's still like, because he's one of the fastest runners, so that's why he was doing that. He's like, Kieran, I need you to go and get reinforcements from Atlanta. And he's like, no, I can't leave you. And she's like, I need you to look after Poppy. And Poppy's like,
fucking no,
you're making me go. He's like, and he's like, yeah. And she's like, I can't. And then I love how someone's like, well, if you stay, you'll just be a distraction because you'll be busy protecting you. And she's like, I can look after my fucking stuff, and he knows it. And this chick's like just rolling her eyes, and Kaz is like, no, she's right.
Well, the other thing that she says is like, me being a distraction is his problem, not mine.
Yeah.
She says that's his weakness, and it was like, ooh.
Yeah, that was spicy.
And I like that. I like that. It's like that never gets said. It's like, that sounds like a him problem. Although that said, though, not particularly relevant when it comes to him needing to survive. Whatever his weakness, like in general, like if you need someone to stay and fight, it doesn't matter if your presence is a weakness on his part. If your presence is going to make him weaker, then maybe. But that said, though, it didn't. It's fine.
Yeah,
it worked out fine.
Yeah,
but if she was a weakling though, she would have I think he would have made her yeet because like he needed to be focused on what he needed to do.
Yeah, but he knows that she can take care of herself.
Yeah. I do like that he's just like, no, she's pretty badass. Like he's like, you should see her in a fight. She's badass.
Yeah. But he is like, but you remain hidden and you only stay on the rise using a bow. You don't come down. And she's like, okay, pinky promise. Yeah, I won't go down there.
I think she was intending to initially.
I think she was too, but then she was like, I can't.
But he still sends Kieran away. I think he's not wrong with what he said. Like that Kieran's like one of the fastest runners.
Yeah.
He's like, I need it to be quick. But also though, the other reason, the more important reason was he didn't want Kieran to die protecting him, which is really sweet.
Yeah.
And everyone knew it. And Kieran's like, I fucking know what the real reason why he's sending me away. It's like, I don't care. You need to go.
Yeah.
I'm ordering you.
It's like, is that an order? And he's like, yeah, that's an order. Go. And he's like,
Kieran's like,
as he leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing is that he's sending Alistair with him, and he's like, and also keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, because that one's going to try to sabotage
the everything.
The wedding.
The everything. So then we finally get to continue the conversation, and he's like, I didn't want to like you, but I do. And when you do leave me, I will still want you for the rest of my life. And she's like, okay, well, tell me about Shay then. So then we get the story about what happened to Shay.
So Shay Shay grew up with them, and so then he gets taken
somehow eventually.
So then he gets taken, and so then he gets taken, and he's like being captured and being used to make ascendants. And then she's like, Shay and my brother came after me like a million
multiple times. Yeah.
And then what happened was Shay got caught and sold out his brother in exchange for him. And then also him.
Yeah, so
she sold
like,
both of them out to save her own life. Yeah.
Yeah, so she was like, I'm gonna I will, because they got separated while getting through the tunnels. She got caught, and she's like, look, don't kill me. I've got another one here, and he's the heir of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I will get them together, and then you can just get them both and let me leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And then what he says is,
Malik was a hell of a fighter.
Yeah, what he says is like, if Malik hadn't fought like he did, I never would have gotten out. But then basically he was so enraged with Shay that
he was also
no, because then they got caught again.
He was, huh?
That because him and Shay escaped while Malik was fighting.
Yeah.
And then they got caught again, and Shay was like, "Let me go. You can have him." And that's when he lost it.
So he was enraged. He was very hungry.
Because the guard also told him what she had done, and he's like, "I don't believe you." And then she did the same thing again, and
and so
he killed the Ascended, and then he ate Shay.
Yeah, and so the thing that he says to Poppy is, if like, he was like, it had been a long time since we'd seen each other, but if you love somebody, you don't do that.
Yeah.
No.
And you don't exchange my brother for me, which she knew I would not have wanted her to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, I haven't told Alistair about that because I just don't want him to know what his daughter did. Like, you can never tell anyone. I can live with everyone knowing that I killed her. I cannot live with everyone knowing that she betrayed us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like, bless.
That was.
And it's not for her sake, because he's even said it, like, at some point he's like, as much as I once loved her, I hate her even more.
Yeah, he's like, I loved her once, but like I'll never forgive her, and I hate her. I mean, obviously, I fucking killed her.
It's purely for Alistair's sake that he doesn't want anyone to know the truth.
Yeah.
And then Gianna, who is his not fiance, is Alistair's great niece, who looks a lot like Shay.
Yeah. So he's like, that's another reason why I didn't want it, because
I'll be right back.
Okay. And then after he finishes their talk about that, she goes, I meant everything I said last night. And then he's like, read me, tell me what my feelings are. And so that way they're real. And she's like, oh my God, he loves me. And he's like, all right, I have one.
She's like, it's like what my brother or my parents felt for me, but so much more. It's like, yeah, well, because also he wants to bone you. It's not familial love he's feeling for you, sweetie.
And he's like, there's a million things I need to apologize for, but first, I want to do this. And then he actually proposes to her, and we're gonna get ready to get married. Yeah. So then they get married, and then the sky turns like black as night. The wedding is really adorable. I like how they did that, or how she did that.
So let's talk about the wedding ceremony. So how a wedding is married is their rings are placed on the dirt. They're standing barefoot in the dirt, and then they cut their palms, hold their palms against each other. The blood drips down into the dirt, onto the rings, and they put the rings on. And then they get little swirly swirls.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get little swirly swirls on their palms that will stay there until you one of you, like, till death do you part or you divorce, effectively.
Yeah.
It's magic. It's fine. Like, I like it. And then all of the blood and dirt got sucked into the rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Kind of adorable.
But then after their wedding, the sky turned black, and then it started to part and the sun shone through, and it was a blessing from the gods, being like, not just like we approved, because like the last time the gods have approved of a wedding was Cass's parents.
Yeah.
Which was a long ass time ago.
Yep. But this was like
even more.
Their previous approval was like, whereas this was like standing ovation.
Yeah, roaring applause.
In scale.
The whistle,
rather than the last one was like a golf clap.
This one was screaming, we stand at a concert.
Yeah.
So then she asks what soulmates are, and then it's a fable, about like a god loving a mortal, and then the mortal dies, and then they're reborn, and they have to go through trials and all this stuff, and it's a whole thing. And instead of boinking to consummate their marriages, they do a
blood exchange
to consummate,
like
as well
like
as the boinking to consummate.
Not like the hand, like, you know, like blood, like, you know, not like the blood oath thing, like actual like mutual blood sucking.
Yep. So they do that.
And I will say that I didn't like this conversation, because he's like, look, you know, like, for this, you know, I could do it somewhere more fun. He's I could do it here. And then he's like, I think the fact, and like, you know, I was okay, considering how like sensual and sexy or whatever the bite is, and how it makes you feel and stuff, like I could live with the thigh bite, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
I could live with that. But then he's like, but I think your favorite would be right here. And then he points at her clit, and I'm like,
I know.
I don't care how good it feels. But
never.
The way he phrased it as well, he was like, because then I could drink you and taste you at the same time or something. I was like, ooh.
I hated it. I hated that part too. I was like, okay, Jenny, can you please stop?
But okay, the other thing
but
is
I'm also just
Jenny
like, I know
real quick. Noah was
no one is sticking their teeth in my vajay.
I was listening to this sitting next to him, and I was just like, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not okay."
Did you tell him?
Yeah, I was like, "I'm bad, actually, and here's why." And he was like, "I'm never asking again."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm never asking about book club stuff again."
Sneaks in over us because he doesn't hate me. Because I'll get like a minute in. He's like, "I'm done. Bye."
Yeah,
he
right.
walks away.
So they do all of the consummating the marriage, and then the ascendants are here. Good timing. Actually, there's like more stuff in between that, but you know, it doesn't matter. So the Duchess is here, which
he's like, stay hidden. He's like, stay.
Yeah. And he like puts her in a cloak.
He's not just like stay up here. He's like, stay freaking hidden. He's like, she can see. She got the eyes because they can see well.
Yeah. And she's like, man, where is she? And like eventually Papa gets mad enough that she's like, I'm right here, bitch.
And she's like, the Queen wants you back. And she's like, what the fuck she's like, I know why the Queen wants me back. What the fuck makes you think I'd ever go with you? And she's like, well, because she's your dear grandmama. And I don't know about you, but I was like, excuse you.
Yeah, I was too.
And I think
I was like, I believe that.
And
I believe that.
I was like,
I believed it, but I was also like, excuse you.
Because
and she's like,
we know that the Queen has never granted anybody like a pass on ascension or anything or whatever. And so her mom had all these special privileges. And then also the Queen was like, you're my personal, I forget what I was going to say, but she's like, and now I'm going to raise you as my own and all that. And it's like,
it's been like from, I think chapter 1, it was very like, maybe not chapter 1 of the first book, but very, very early in the first book, she was always the Queen's favorite. Out of everyone that the Queen has ever met that she knows of, she was the Queen's favorite.
Yeah.
Person. And the Queen's never been anything but kind and gentle and loving with her.
And then the Duchess finds out that they're married, and she goes, "Oh, how lovely you have done
not yet, but yeah.
Well, she finds out, and she's like, oh, excellent! Oh my God, this is perfect because
according to plan.
She's like, you've done wonderful.
She's done what the Queen has always wanted to do, but has never been able to. Like it's like
she's like, you took Atlantia from the inside out. Oh, how coy, Queen. And I was like,
she's like, no, I did it because I love him. And then she kills her. Yeah, and then she kills her. But before the fight actually starts, she's like, I have a gift for you.
Wait.
And then
Oh wait, before that, because she was like, "How can the queen be my grandmama? How can she be my mother's mother? She's ascended.
Yeah.
The ascended don't have children." She's like, "What on earth would make you think she was ascended?"
Oh yeah.
And everyone's like, and she's like, she's like, "Don't be as if the queen's an ascended, you fucking moron." And then she's like, "By the way, gift."
And then it's
Like,
the
that's your
heads
gift.
of all the people we spent the first half of the book getting to know.
Yeah.
That was sad.
Including the preggers lady. Like the
yeah,
pregnant
that
lady.
hurt me.
That was sad.
And
then like her and Kaz kind of look at each other, and she's just like, "Fucking kill them all," and he's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill them all," and she's like, "Do it." So
yep.
and that's where she's like, I no longer give zero fucks about dignity and death, because that was a big thing the whole book. She was like, I don't care what someone has done, everyone deserves dignity and death. And now she's just like,
I don't give a fuck.
Torture them however you want, I don't care. Make it miserable.
Yeah. And she's also kind of like, dignity takes too long. Fuck this shit. I'm done.
Yep. We're busy. So
fighting. They're fighting.
It goes down.
It's not going as well as she would hope. And she's like, fuck this noise, and jumps down and starts doing her shit. And then someone's about to like do a stabby stab, and they see her face, and she's like, because everyone, I don't think most of them don't know what she looks like, but they know about. She's got a pretty good description. Pretty chick with a hectic scar on her face.
Yeah.
So like they see the scar, they're like, shit, and she's like, oh, excellent, stab. And then like everyone starts to realize who she is, and she's like, excellent. So stabby stab. She makes her way over to Kaz, and she's like, beat you to the Duchess. He's like, not if I beat you first. So they're like racing to kill enough people to get to the Duchess first. So because they both want to kill her, because they're both cranky.
Yeah, they're some cranky people.
She gets there first, and then they have the chitty chat about like, oh, you're married, well done you. And then I can't actually remember who kills her, because Cass bursts into.
She kills her, but before that, she we're getting like wrecked. We were getting straight up wrecked. So she draws all these and puts a knife to her throat, and she says, "All right, everyone, calm the fuck down, or I will literally kill myself." And they're like,
"Yeah."
Yeah, they're like, okay.
And Cass is like, no, you won't. And she's like, shut up, husband. I will freaking.
I know what I'm doing.
I will off myself.
And at that moment, reinforcements arrive.
Well, before that though, because also she's also been having every time she touches a wolf and like randomly, like not when she's thinking about it, just every so often, there's like electric shocks happening. But then we still don't know what. Like I think we know where it's coming from, but we don't know what it means yet.
Oh yeah, the electric shocks.
Because at the end, with the wolves like protect her.
Yeah.
But she's like, I thought she was about to go like soul eater or whatever, because she was like, she could feel all of their emotion coming into her, and she was feeling this power surge, and then wolves.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, basically.
Did you like that song, by the way?
Yes, I did.
I'm not gonna lie, it's actually one of my favorite songs. I liked it ironically, but now I genuinely like it. But yeah, carry on.
She, like when they're having the, oh, you're married. She tells her that Tawny's ascended and that Ian is with Malik. Ian's her brother. Is with Malik. So we find that out. I think she's lying about Tawny's ascension. I hope she's lying about Tawny's ascension.
Well, then later on it says it's like they talk about Tawny is going to ascend later in the book. So I think it's more. I don't know. I hope she's not ascended. I really hope she's not ascended.
And then battle's over thanks to the reinforcements. It's great. She's healing people, but one of the older Wolvens warns her that the people still don't accept her, even though like she fought to protect their prince and all that good stuff. Then we go home. There's some weird misty stuff. The mist is magic.
And Poppy's started to play with the mist in it. Like she's like moving her hand in the mist, is interacting. But apparently like the mist can cause like hallucinations and shit. And so they're like, Poppy, you're just imagining shit. And she's like, no, I swear it's interacting. And they're like, it's mist. It's magic mist, but it's fucking mist.
But then like she has like a mist dream where like it's her father's voice, and she ends up on a cliff, and Cass like wakes her up and is like, whoa, what the fuck?
Well, first
the goddess stops her.
The goddess is like, Poppy, stop. Don't do this. You're not going to find your answers here. Get the fuck out. Stop it. And then they wake
just
her up.
Go home. Just go home, Poppy. You'll get your answers when you go home. We still don't know exactly where home is, according like what, like home from when she came, or home as in true home, or where you're going. Like we don't know yet.
I mean, answers do come where she's
going.
But
I think the
answers she's looking for are at. I think they're in Solus. I think that's what she means.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is great news. A god woke up to save you. If the gods accept you, that means our people will have to as well."
Yeah, but then they're also like that's kind of random. Like she literally because all the gods are sleeping at the moment.
Yeah,
they're sleeping, but they're paying enough attention to do some stuff. But he's he's like, look, she literally woke up just to save you, and now she's fucked off again. Like, you're special. And he's like, I don't know why. I don't hate it, but I'm curious. And Kieran's like, I'm curious, and Poppy's like, I'm fucking curious, and a little bit weirded out.
Yeah. So then they get to like the outskirts, and Alistair's like, your parents are here. And so Cass is like, all right, I'm gonna go talk to them. And Beckett, the guy that
we already married, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And Alistair's like, how could you?
And
and Beckett's like, come with me
to the temple, which is a trap. So we don't stand Beckett. I never did, but just so we're all aware. He abandons her. She gets like heckled, like they're calling her a whore and like the maiden, and she's like, that's kind of an oxymoron.
And then they start stoning her.
So then she gets injury, and I wrote down the what now
blood.
Yeah,
it's raining blood.
This is the chapter I had to read twice. So a bunch of people that she murdered, a bunch of people. Blood fell from the ceiling. Blood trees started erupting. The wolf, like everyone comes in and looks at her weird. The wolves surround her, and if anyone gets near her, they start to like growl. Cass kneels at her feet. The queen and the king and the queen walk in, and the queen takes off her crown.
Well, the queen first goes, what have you brought home?
Brought
home? And Alistair's like, it's not too late. And she said, it is too late. And she takes off her crown, puts it at the, like the feet of the statue of their main god. And it becomes gilded bones. And says like, bow before your new queen. And that's where that fucking book ends. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, wait, we'll get the direct. She was like, lower your swords and bow before the last descendant of the most ancient ones, she who carries the blood of the king of the gods within her. Bow before your new queen. End book. So Poppy is the last descendant of the king of the gods. We don't quite know what that means.
We don't know what that means yet. Yeah.
She's killing it on these cliffhangers though, isn't she?
Dude,
like I'm actually really annoyed. I'm really annoyed that there's another book now, because like I thought it was just going to be a trilogy, and then when I like with the last book I was like cliffhanger. I'm like, that's fine. There's There's only.
But now we don't have the fourth one.
No, and it's not
I
going to
know
be
that this is going to end with a fucking cliffhanger.
So
it's what she does.
I think we're just gonna do the third book next because
I think so.
I think we all want to know too.
We need to.
I think we're all like, I gotta know. So that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, that's that book.
We stand a Jenny book, like we stand a Jenny series.
Yeah.
Well done, Jenny.
I know.
Yep.
It's like I want to know more immediately after I'm done reading, which is awesome. That's what you want.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, even though we had criticisms, it's like I still want to know what the fuck happens.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, this wasn't a bad book. I'm like, some of her old habits came through a bit too much in this, especially her Jaylyn habits.
Yeah.
They came through a bit too much. But maybe if like the first book had gone the way this one had, we might not have enjoyed it as much. But like we already knew and liked the characters.
Yeah.
And the new characters that we met that weren't involved in the sexy time stuff, they were good characters. I liked them. Like I gave a fuck.
I like
that
Kieran when that's not happening. I really like Kieran when that's not happening.
So
yeah, so like she did good, and I'm a little bit proud of her.
I am proud of her.
Right.
So that is that, and we will reconvene probably next week. But anyway,
probably, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for